Welcome back to Fly Tying iTV. We're here again at Fly and Shot with our host, Bob Gray. Nice to see you again, Bob.
Pleasure to be here today.
What are we tying today?
Well, today we're going to be tying a fly that I sort of came up with several years ago, and it's called a Uni Midge. And what makes this fly very unique is the material that I use for doing the body. I used to tie these midges all the time, and I used a lot of real small thread and stuff, and it seemed like it took a lot longer to tie this fly. So I came up with this material. It's called Uni Stretch. It's actually a material that's a lot thicker, and it's
kind of like Lycra?
Yeah, sort of springy type of material.
Okay, that's cool.
And it makes the bodies really, makes you be able to tie the bodies really quick. So I usually tie these up in anywhere from 12, 16s, 18s, and even some 20s. But it's a really unique fly in the fact that you can fish it anywhere in the country. I mean, I've caught trout anywhere in the country with this fly because it mimics a lot of the midges. Midges is a generic term for like a really small fly.
Sure.
So I'm going to go on ahead and take this one out of here.
Okay.
And I'm going to tie one up, and I'm going to go through a few steps. Maybe I can make things a little easier. You got to put the cheaters on.
First thing to go, huh?
First thing to go is the eyes.
Second thing we want to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I found a very, for me, this works very easy as far as putting a bead on this hook. I always put a little brass bead on this hook, and you can use tungsten beads, or you can just use a cyclops bead, depending on how heavy you want the fly.
Do you ever use a plastic bead?
I don't use plastic beads that much because all my midges, my nymphs that I'm indicator fishing with and stuff, I want them to sink.
Okay.
So I always use either a cyclops bead or a tungsten bead. Tungsten, you can use tungsten beads to tie with, and you don't have to put split shot on. It makes it a lot easier to cast.
Sure.
All right, so I got a pair of pliers. I grabbed the bead. You want to put the small end of the bead onto the point of the hook. And you just put it right down on there.
Okay.
Now your bead's on. So you got to take your hook out and move it around so you can tie this fly on.
Okay.
So we'll put the hook in. First thing you want to put on is the body material. And when you see after I tie this fly, there's hardly any material on it, but it's a great fly. So the reason why I liked it is it's because I can start this body material, and it's pretty heavy, and it builds up this body, and I just wind down to the bend of the hook, and I wind all the way back up. And now that's the body of the fly. So it's very simple, and I always cut the tail off because it is a midge, and most of them don't have big tails. So next what I want to do is, instead of using this thread to tie the fly, I want to tie this off, and I'll put a half hitch on it.
Okay.
And then I'll cut the uni stretch material off. Now we're done with that. Then I'm going to continue tying this fly with my 8/0 thread because it's a really small fly.
Okay.
So next thing you want to do is you want to start your 8/0 thread and get good wraps in there. And the key to this fly, I think, for a lot of times is the flash. I put some flash in this fly, which really makes it unique. And there's all kinds of flash. You can use holographic flash. You can use flashaboo, pearl flash, reds, greens. You can use any color you want on this fly. I've had real good luck by using this holographic tinsel.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is just cut off a couple of pieces. Now when I get done with this fly, you'll see that I have the flash isn't going to be really long. So instead of trying to tie in a really short piece of flash, a really neat way to do this is to take a couple pieces of your flash, and you want to wrap them around your thread, and then you can, this thing's right in my way.
Yeah.
You wrap the flash right around,
Okay.
and then you can take and position it right on the top of your fly.
Good idea.
And then you can just cinch that down. Now, it looks really long, but that's fine. Just come right in here, just take and clip it off with your scissors. Now there's the flash. It's perfect.
Yeah.
The next thing I do is I use peacock to wind on the head, just to make the head of this fly. You can either use peacock dubbing, or you can actually use natural peacock, like we got right here. The natural peacock is actually a little bit more tender, but a lot of people don't like the dub.
Why is that?
Well, when you dub and you're trying to get your dubbing on, they either put too much on or they don't get it on right and it comes off. And the big thing is getting too much of it on. But if you learn how to dub with a very little bit, it works better because the dubbing's a little bit stronger.
Okay.
So I'm going to go on ahead and use some dubbing. And when I say a small amount, it's a very small amount. It might even be a little bit more, too much. So then this is the dubbing that I'm going to put on. And when you dub, you just want to spin it onto your thread in one direction.
Do you have to worry about your thread being waxed at all, or anything like that? Or?
Not. Some people like to use wax thread. Some people use dubbing wax. I've found that just regular thread works just as well. Okay. I don't ever have any problems with it. So then you want to put your dubbing on, and we're going to wind this right on the head of the fly. And it's okay if it spikes out and gets a little buggy looking, because that's what we want.
Sure.
So once we get this on here, we're done with the fly.
Wow.
And now all we got to do is do some half hitches on it. Some people like to use a whip finish, which is fine. Some people half hitch with their fingers. That's fine. I've found when you're using beads, you can buy the half hitch tool, and there's different sizes. And if you can find, when you find the right size for the bead that you're using, you can slide that half hitch tool right over the bead, because you want to tie this off behind the bead, not in front of it.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of half hitches. A little bit too far. It's right behind the eye, or the bead right there.
Clever. And this fly, anytime you're going to use a zebra midge or any kind of midge pattern, you basically replace it with this one.
You can replace a zebra midge with it. You can replace just about any small nymph that you're using. I use it pretty much exclusively on the Cumberland River when I do guide trips down there. Use the black, because a lot of guys use the black zebra midge, olive zebra midge. I always like to put a little head cement on this fly because, when you catch a lot of fish, it's,
sure.
I always use just a little drop of head cement, put it on like this, just rub it right behind the eye.
And what size patterns usually tied? Again, like 18, 20, 16?
You can tie it in 14, 16, any size that you actually want.
Size 2.
Size 2 if you want.
That'd be big midge.
Yeah. But, and I tie this in all different colors. That's the one thing about this Uni stretch material. It comes in yellow. This is a great color, yellow, hot pink.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Olive. It just comes in just tons of colors. So you can tie this identical fly in any color that you want.
That's great.
Sometimes they key in on color. Sometimes they key in on size. So I keep these in 14s, 16s, and 18s in all these different colors. Tie them all usually with tungsten beads and just fish it.
That's great.
With an indicator. And
That's great.
It works great.
I appreciate it. So if people want to find out the exact pattern and all the specs on how to tie it, just go to our website, flyfishingontheweb.com or ffotw.com for short. All the ingredients will be on there.
Everything.
Bob's at flyandshot.com.
Yep.
Can they get all these materials at Fly and Shot?
All the materials are here. I sell them all the time for this midge, and it's becoming a really popular midge. Very easy to tie.
And if you want to talk to Bob himself personally, just go to flyandshot.com, and there's an email link for him as well.
All right.
Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll be back next time. Tight lines.